Hi guys, Trinity here. Tonight's video, I want to start doing some videos about decks that are kind of different and unusual. Okay, there was a list of decks that I almost didn't get for fear that I would not like them, that I wound up really liking and enjoying. This specific deck I've been studying, but I did not read for the public with, because I wanted to understand its meanings and look into it in a very personal way first. I did do one reading for someone in my family with this deck, and it was very, very good. So, I'm going to put these cards aside because there are some cards I wanted to go over with you in the Marielle. Now, most of us are used to a traditional Rider-Waite system. Not most of us, but some people are very familiar with the Rider-Waite system and they like it that way. It's comfortable. It's like the same old shirt. You just keep wearing it because it's comfortable and it's great. It feels good. But once in a while, we will get the urge to step out of our comfort zone and pick up something a little more, I don't want to say unorthodox, but something that's a little bit different that expands our minds a little bit more. So I took the liberty of taking some of these cards out of the deck because I wanted to show them to you and give you my thoughts on them. Now, I just watched somebody else's video on the Marielle and some of their thoughts, and it reminded me how I wanted to do a video about this, but wasn't completely comfortable that I had a complete handle on the deck yet. And I'm not going to stand here and tell you that I know this deck inside and out and I know exactly what this or that means. What I'm going to show you is what I feel and what I pick up when I look at each of these cards. And every reader is different, so you might see something different. Okay. So, like I said before, I took some of the cards out because I really wanted to look over them with you and show you what I see. Oh, wait a minute. Let me get this lighting right. Okay, here we go. So, the King of Discs in the Marielle Tarot would be the King of Coins, the King of Pentacles. He is like the bringer and the giver of everything. It looks like in this one, they used a satyr. Satyrs are all about sex. They were very sexual. And as a matter of fact, if you read Marielle's book, and the book about the Marielle Tarot, Landscapes of the Abyss, I really don't want to tell you what it says about this guy here, but I'll put it to you like this. It has something to do with the symbol on the back of the cards, the Ouroboros. So, if you have the deck, maybe you'll read up about him. But anyway, when I look at this card, I see a symbol of sex. I see a symbol of enjoying the fruits of your labor, of relaxing because you know that you have all the comforts that you could possibly want and need. I'm not going to go into every single detail that I feel about every single card because it's kind of personal, some of it, and it's a lot. These cards are very deep. So when you buy this deck, or if you have this deck, and after watching this you want to pick it up and look at it, you're going to see things a little differently maybe than I see them, or you may see the same thing. But you could sit with one of these cards for probably an hour and just find more and more stuff. It's really a cool deck. This one, the Three of Wands, I chose this card because I thought it would be an interesting card to talk about. When I looked in her book, I read the meanings about a lot of these cards, so I can shed a little bit of light on some of them. This is the kind of deck that I would prefer to read intuitively. I understand why she chose the imagery she did for the meanings that she was trying to get out of it. For me, when I read with the Rider-Waite tarot decks or based decks, I have a certain way of reading. And I kind of had to step out of that comfort zone and read a different way with this one. And this one I chose to read intuitively. So in the book, she talks about the fact that this snake is sort of like the kundalini that goes up your spine, like the kundalini rising kind of thing. Also, I wanted to point out, as far as the Marielle Tarot goes, in the book, it talks about how this deck is not a Rider-Waite deck. This is built on the 3 pillars of the Marseille, the Thoth, and the Rider-Waite. So the imagery represents that. You see how it strays away from what one would consider Rider-Waite imagery. It does not stick to that. So if you're not comfortable with that, maybe this deck's not for you. This deck was not for me when I first saw it, and I saw walkthroughs of it. And then I got curious and said, you know what, there's something about it that is drawing me in, so I'm going to purchase it. And I'm glad I did. I like how the face on this is red. Red being the fire element, because it is wands. But I just like how she made like the whole face of this red. And I like how the 2 wands look different. I'm going to just talk a little bit about each card. Like I said, I won't go into full detail of what I see because it could take a really long time. This is the Strength card. So this is a major Arcana card. Okay? And when I look at this card, Strength, in most, like say your traditional Rider-Waite decks, you would see a woman holding open a lion's mouth, showing that she had kind of found her own strength and knew how to bend the rules and knew how to be calm and tame within herself, yet have the strength of a lion. This one depicts, I'm not certain whether it's a man or a woman, but it's like got a very sexual energy to me. There's a lion between their legs. So that to me speaks very aggressive sexual energy. It also speaks to me that they had harnessed their strength, that they had a good handle on it, that they had reached a state of peace. And then you grab the next, we'll just add the 8 of Cups. I'm not going to do all 4 of the suits, but if we look at how it kind of integrates, if we were to step from the Strength into the 8 of Cups, now she's kind of shed her skin and opened herself up to more possibilities, this young child. She had harnessed what she needed to harness, but she doesn't have to hold on to it all the time. She can take it off. If her strength sometimes feels like a burden, she can remove it. She can kind of shed the old. The Fool. This card to me speaks about transformation. Now, I did a journal on this deck, and I'm not going to lie, I didn't finish it yet. I started it. I began using the deck for myself and journaling my thoughts on the cards, what they meant in that spread, in that instance, with that question, what I saw on the cards. And this one, it's like the Fool is going through a transformation. He's ready for a transformation. He's flying forth, not a care in the world, doesn't care if he's naked, doesn't care if he gets eaten by a dragon. Now, I'm not going off of any of her meanings in the book. I did read some of her meanings in the book, going off of what I see when I look at the cards. And this is a very interesting deck because it's built on those three pillars. And I'm not super familiar with Marseille or Thoth, but I like the idea that it's diverse in that way. Okay, so the Nine of Cups generally, like to me, with the Rider-Waite meaning, would mean like, wishes granted and your dreams come true and phone calls and all kinds of stuff. In this one, it's almost set up sort of like a justice card, but not. It's like, you see the pathway up here behind his head going up to this star, like eternity, eternal guidance. There's also an aspect of death here with the scorpion, though. And it's a black scorpion. The yin and yang, the white and the black, the knowing. She talks about in the book that this card she had a dream about the Wizard of Oz, or she was thinking about the Wizard of Oz and how they rip open the curtain and there's this old man granting their wishes, and it makes them realize how they could grant their own wishes themselves. Like they have the key to the happiness, to the star, to the eternal happiness, right? So what I did was I chose some cards to just pick out that I thought were kind of significant. And yes, I did grab the aces, and I know a lot of people did reviews with the aces, and I'm just going to show my thoughts, and that's all. So I noticed with the tens that the tens were all these people or skeletons riding horses, okay? Sorry, guys. Let me just see if I can slide this here a little bit better so you can see. So they're all on horses. Even this guy here on the Ten of Cups. You can see the horse, see his head down here. He's red. These almost are like death card images. You see the horse? And you see the baby up here. This is about love and connections. Harnessing your emotions. This one is about almost like a death, coming to an end of one period of, it could be a social ending, or it could be getting rid of something in your life that you no longer need. Almost like the death card. The last two are not skeletons, though. This one almost looks to me like the Sun card, but it's the Ten of Wands. And to me, this card speaks like driving forth with all of your energy, with everything that you've learned and taken on. All of this fiery baggage, all this energy, and you just don't know what to do with it yet, but you're going to pursue forward. That's what this card speaks to me as. And this card, this is about like breaking free, maybe of burdens, maybe of a trap, or and normally, like with the Rider-Waite, this would be family affairs, this would be something completely different. But when I see this card here, it's something in the book. She talks about how with the Ace of Discs, he's kind of trapped in the labyrinth. This figure, half man, half bull. And in the end, when he gets to the Ten of Discs, he's broken free. Free of physical, almost like physical bondage. You know, like being trapped in yourself or being trapped in an area that you can't escape or can't leave. And now you finally have everything you want and you can get out and be on your own. I'm not doing any kind of order because I don't plan on doing any kind of series with this deck. I'm just showing some examples of how I see these cards when I look at them. And there's a lot of videos out there where other people kind of do the same thing in their videos, and it's just everybody sees something different or maybe something similar. I watched some videos and people were doing a great job, and I'm looking at it and I'm going, while they're doing it, oh, I see this and I see that. And I just thought it'd be fun to do it, and I've been meaning to do it for a while. So, with that said, excuse me, I'm just getting over a cold. With all four of these aces, I like that they are the way she depicted the beginnings. Now, with this, the first one here, the Ace of Cups, this is clearly an angel, and angels are known to have both sexes. They're usually hermaphrodites. And this one clearly is a hermaphrodite. He has more of an angelic feel than the other ones do. So, and again, there's the Kundalini snake. But this is about the beginning of harnessing your intuition, your emotions, maybe a birth. This is about, I feel like when I look at this card, like being able to be empathetic and understand other people's views, being able to embrace your emotions, embrace love, accept it, have it be unconditional. With this card, it's just bursting with energy. I mean, you can clearly see this is a lion's head ripping back and forth. And once again, a hermaphrodite. Looks like, almost like a griffin, you know, to me. With the, looks like hawk wings and the lion's head. And him forming a sun with his hands. Bursting with energy, like just so much energy, not knowing what to do with it, right? Like having all this energy and needing somewhere to direct it. This one, I already read the book, and I almost feel like I wish I didn't, because then it kind of taints your idea of what you see. So I'm going to try to look at this without what I know of the card. Again, a hermaphrodite, looking within, half man, half animal. It's the beginning of being able to do the physical things that you need to get done. Being able to bring physical objects to you, to accomplish things, to get a job, to do, instead of think about or dream about or talk about. You're actually doing it, right? Excuse me. And with this guy, clearly to me, it would say he is being closed off in every other way except his mouth. He's able to speak still. He's able to speak. It's like he's being tied up and told, you are going to communicate, and the only way you're going to do it is not with your wings, not with your arms, not with your feet, but with your mouth. You're restricted to only talking, only telling the truth, right? That's all we can have you do. And we see in each one of the aces also the chakra energy, the seeds to the beginning, right? and how everything as far as intuition goes, you know, it really starts to develop in your gut, right? Like they say, listen to your gut. And these are all the seeds, the beginning seeds to each emotion, each test that we go through, each challenge, even whether it be intellectually, verbally, emotionally. Anyway, you get my point. These are the beginnings to those things coming into fruition. Now, I just went over this deck with you guys. I didn't go over the whole deck. I just went over a few cards. This wound up being a 20-minute video. Wow. I just wanted to show you an unusual deck that I bought that I didn't think I would. And there's going to be more to come. There's going to be other decks that I want to show you that are decks that aren't traditional decks, that you don't just pick up if you're beginning to learn tarot or if you're not certain if you're going to understand it. I always look at my decks and before I purchase them and see if it's something that I'm going to use or be interested in before I purchase. And this was one of them, and it took me probably a couple years to really break down and get it and decide to take that leap and see if I would resonate with it. And I have in a big way so far from what I see. I haven't got myself wrapped around it totally yet. So I just thought I'd give you some thoughts on the Mariel Tarot and see if you like it and what you think of it. Have a great night, guys. If you like my videos, hit the like button and the subscribe and tap the little bell so you can get notifications when I'm doing another video. And as I said before, I will do another video on different style decks that are not your traditional. Okay? Thank you very much, guys. Have a good night.